What? Illegal aliens are getting driver's license? Is this happening? Is this 2020? Am I dreaming? So yeah, a lot of states across the country are passing legislation to give illegal aliens driver's licenses. So most of the things we do in life as humans, we need some form of ID. But these undocumented illegal aliens can walk into a DMV in New York and New Jersey and other states, and coming soon to a theater near you, and get a driver's license with basically no information. And one of the best guys at breaking this stuff down is my good friend Fernando Uribe. Joins me now. He's the host of Politically Direct on Insider NJ. He's also a faculty member at Bergen Community College. So he knows the academic side, the media side, and you're in New Jersey, so it's happening to you and me both. Illegals are getting driver's licenses. What are the feds looking to do about it?
Well, John, and by the way, happy President's Day to everybody watching today. One of the interesting things about this aspect, John, is the fact that there was a bill introduced last week by many Republican senators called the Stop Greenlighting Driver's Licenses for Illegal Immigrants Act. And I know it's a very sort of long, convoluted title, but at the heart of it really is sort of like the ongoing battle between the federal government and states that offer sanctuary state policies. For example, I live in New Jersey. Governor Murphy and Attorney General Grewal are adamant advocates for sanctuary city and state policies. And I think right now, where the rubber meets the road, though, John, is the idea that the federal government wants to at least deny funding for specific criminal justice sort of grants that, you know what, are vital for states. And you know what? They'll do that because of the fact that these states are offering these sort of policies. And it's sort of like the very typical liberal, like, you know, cut your nose to spite your face, where, guess what, at the end of the day, the federal government's going to win this, I think, in a court of law. They need for community policing and other vital services that these criminal justice grants.
So the progressives on the left will frame this as, oh, Trump doesn't want to give money to local law enforcement and he's being vindictive. But on the show, you know, Fernando, we like to try to call it like it is, at least like we see it. It's not fair. It's inequality. A person who's a U.S. citizen goes to the Department of Motor Vehicles. You need like 7 different forms of ID. If you don't have your Social Security card, they don't let you get a new license. These people are coming up with absolutely no documentation except what they write on the paper. This is me. Doesn't the federal government have a responsibility to care for our national security?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, and one of the things that's frustrating about this process is the idea that, you know what, federal law should supersede everything. And I understand that states' rights, you know, advocates are always about, well, listen, this is what gives us our autonomy against the federal government. But at the end of the day, though, John, listen, this is where the Justice Department really is up in arms about it. And I know the Attorney General and U.S. attorneys in New Jersey are adamant about sort of taking, at least where I live, Governor Murphy to task, and also the Attorney General in the state to task. Like, you can't keep enabling these sanctuary state policies, protecting illegals in New Jersey, and now we're rewarding illegal behavior by granting them driver's licenses. So you know what? I'm glad that the federal government wants to take a stand here, and they say, listen, if you want to sort of perpetuate these policies that are violating federal law, then guess what? We are within our providence to take away federal funding. And again, I don't understand where so many liberals are going to sort of act with this selective moral outrage when they know that these policies are hurting taxpayers and residents. And at the end of the day, guess what? If this funding isn't available, then the state will have to sort of raise revenue some other way for these programs to be available. And guess what?
Tax them more.
Raise taxes
more
and that's
because
just
they're
wrong.
not getting as much money from the feds. Hey, before you go, I want to get your thoughts on some of this stuff that's going on. It looks like Mike Bloomberg, the field is set up for him to run right up the middle, but he's getting a lot of heat lately over this stop and frisk and some of his, you know, moral philosophies on minorities. You know, you could Xerox 16 to 25-year-old minority kids, and they're the murderers, and they commit all the crimes and all this other stuff. But now it looks like Al Not-So-Sharpton has taken aim at Bloomberg, too. I want you to take a look at this and give me your thoughts.
What he can do either, but I think the challenge is that we can't just settle for a speech or a tour of speeches asking for forgiveness.
Right.
There ought to be some effort on his part, to say, and therefore I want to try and repair the damages done by this, some kind of criminal justice initiative, some kind of effort for those that were scarred. I also, Mika, don't want to see him as a leaf that the other candidates duck some of their racial baggage.
So you know when Reverend Al takes to the stump, you know he's got the kettle out and he's looking for somebody to dump some dough in there.
Well, Al Sharpton never ceases to amaze me in terms of capitalizing on any sort of scandal. And this is the one thing that bothers me about Mike Bloomberg as a candidate, John, is, you know what, people talk about the president and whether or not he's made racist comments in the past. I have not yet seen them, but he was a businessman. Mike Bloomberg was in office not one term, not two term, 3 terms in New York. So he's been involved in government. And only now is Mike Bloomberg having an epiphany about stop and frisk and how wrong it was. Well, it wasn't wrong for him when he sort of perpetuated it as a policy during his administration. So I get it. He's trying to get the black vote. He's trying to pander to Al Sharpton, who panders to everybody for anything and everything. I don't think it's believable, and I think this is something that's going to come back to bite Mini Mike in the you-know-where.
Thank you very much, Fernando Uribe. Appreciate it. Your insights are always welcome here. We are getting a ton of calls. The phone lines are lighting up. We're getting texts and calls, and we're going to get to all of them in just a bit, or at least a lot of them. We're going to try our best to. But coming up right now, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with Lauren Conlin. She is the CEO and host of the Red Carpet Rendezvous podcast. Talk about what's going on in the entertainment world right after this.